This is Doug Davis with Caron Realty, broker in charge for another Ask Doug session. And today, since I've been asked recently about sewage, I thought I'd share my 2 cents on actually a little bit on 4 different systems here: cesspools, septic systems, ATUs, and the city system. Just cover it very briefly, but I do get asked about cesspools for properties that we sell, and it's actually quite astounding how many areas on Oahu are not covered by city sewage system. So most of the North Shore, Diamond Head of all areas, Waimanalo, Eva Beach, to name a few that are fairly well, they're not serviced by, most of it's not serviced by the city. So people always ask me about the difference between the systems. So cesspool is the most basic. It really doesn't treat anything. It really is just a hole in the ground where the sewage is dumped. And the cesspools can either be a hole in the ground, just dirt surround, or it could be they dug a hole and then they put bricks around it, or it could be even a cement enclosure, but with no bottom usually, and it just dissipates in the into the ground through the soil. Problem with that is that it's not treated. So if you're near if you're in a low area close to the ocean near the groundwater source, it will leach into the water and into the ocean. And you know, there's pathogens and bacteria and such that go into the ocean. I understand E. coli takes up to 48 hours to die in the saltwater ocean. So that's why it's not good to go swimming right after a big rain in the ocean right away. So astoundingly, there's 88,000 approximate cesspools in the Hawaiian Islands and 11,000 still on Oahu. That's amazing, 11,000. And I have the map right here in front of me, right under my shoulder there is, maybe I can point, right down here, if that's where it shows up. There's thousands right in Honolulu, and we have a city system, and they're not hooked up. It's crazy. So, okay, cesspool, just a hole in the ground, and it takes care of itself. Sometimes they fill up with water and you need to have them pumped, so they have services for that. Okay, the other is a septic system, which is an underground tank. They're usually plastic. They're usually the size of, say, a car trunk, and they bury that in the ground. And then they have what's called a leach field. So that's tubing with holes in it, small holes, where the liquid goes into the soil around it. So in the tank, the solids sink and are eaten away by bacteria, and the clear liquids rise, and those are the ones that go out into the tubing into the yard. It's not a perfect system, because if it rains, the system could backfill and flood. Or if you're in areas like Punaluu, Hauula, Ka'ava, those areas, you're so close to the ocean, or one of the many streams out there, and it could tap into that also. And those systems also can flood and backfill and need pumping. But they're way better than cesspools. In 2016, Act 20 was enacted by legislature, which banned the construction of new cesspools. So 2016, we finally stopped putting them in. Act 125 was in 2017, which it was the law that is requiring the upgrade of cesspools by the year 2050. So we've got 11,000 to go. So it's a lot. And they're not cheap either. They could be anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000. It depends on topography. It depends if you have sand for your soil or rock. So there may be chipping to get the big tank in there. Those could be issues for people doing the conversions. Or you could have a small lot and your leach field, you may not have, your land area is underneath your house, so you may not be able to do a leach field. So some people may be stuck. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. So, all right, then the third is called an ATU for either advanced treatment unit or an aerobic treatment system. And that's very similar to what the city does for the main sewage treatment plants that they have. And that's where you have air that goes into it to assist the bacteria in its treatment. So small little developments may need to upgrade to ATUs to treat the facility if there's no city hookup available. The map that I have behind me, if you can see the little yellow dots, those are all the cesspools located all over the island. And I have area here that shows the different areas. So here, the top right shows Eva Beach area. Bottom left is Diamond Head, Black Point, all around it. And then look, Kahala still has cesspools. That's funny. Wailua, and that's a very low-lying area there with rivers and streams going through it. And then Kahalu and Waimanalo areas. Thought I would show those areas. Those are the pink areas shown on the map behind my face there. And those are low-lying areas that are more problematic and accessing the ocean and spilling out towards the ocean. So those are priority areas that they would like, the city would like to get addressed sooner rather than later. That's about it. So cesspool to septic to ATU or to city sewage. And there you have it. Okay, I hope that's informative for you, and I'll see you next week.